Okay, we're recovering from technical difficulties, so we're gonna start from this page again. And it's probably better that we don't upload one giant video, so we'll upload two smaller videos. Okay, is that right, Stanley? Okay. That evening, in the main hall of the museum, Mr. Dart showed Stanley the most expensive painting in the world. Next to it was an empty picture frame. And now, Stanley, said Mr. Dart, it's time for your disguise. Stanley showed Mr. Dart the disguise he had bought. This is a really good one, my cowboy hat, and a red bandana. I'm sorry, said Mr. Dart, but we don't have cowboy pictures here. You must wear the disguise I have chosen. Stanley could hardly speak when he saw Mr. Dart's disguise. I'll look like a girl, he protested. But Stanley was a good sport, so he put it on. In the main hall, Stanley climbed into the empty picture frame and stood very still. Very nice, said Mr. Dart, and went off to arrange the rest of their plan. Now Stanley was alone. The hall was very dark, but enough moonlight came through the windows for him to see the world's most expensive painting. Maybe the sneak thieves wouldn't come, he thought. And then a glow of yellow light shone suddenly in the center of the hall. A trap door had opened in the floor. The sneak thieves carrying lanterns came up into the hall. The thieves took the world's most expensive painting off the wall. This is it, Max, said the first thief, whose name was Luther. In all this great city, there's no one to suspect us. Then Luther saw Stanley in his frame. I thought sheep girls were supposed to smile, Max, he said. This one looks scared. Stanley managed a tiny smile. She is smiling, sort of, said Max. And what a pretty little thing she is, too. That made Stanley furious. In his loudest voice he shouted, Police! Mr. Dart, the sneak thieves are here! Max, Luther whispered, I think I heard the little sheep girl yell. Oh boy, yelling pictures. We both need a rest, Max whispered back. You'll get a rest all right, shouted Mr. Dart, rushing in with lots of policemen. You'll get arrested. That's what. The sneak thieves were quickly handcuffed and led away to jail. The next morning, Stanley Lamchop got a medal from the chief of police. The day after this picture was in all the newspapers. Oh, I guess it doesn't show the next page. Flat hero saves, we don't know what, but there's Stanley. For a while, Stanley was famous. People would point him out and whisper, Over there, Agnes, Stanley Lamchop, the one who caught the museum robbers, and things like that. But then people began to make fun of him. Hi, Super Skinny, they would call. Poor Stanley. One night, Arthur woke up to the sound of Stanley crying. What's wrong? He said. Stanley sighed. I want to be regular shape again, like other people. It's not fair. You're brave, said Arthur. You really are. And Arthur had an idea. He turned on the light and ran to the big toy box in the corner. He tossed aside toy soldiers, airplanes, boat models. Got it, he said, holding up an old bicycle pump. Okay, Stanley said after a moment. But take it easy. He stood with the end of the hose in his mouth, clamped his lips tightly so no air could escape. Arthur began to pump. "If it hurts or anything, wiggle your hand," he said. Stanley's top half began to swell. Stanley got bigger and bigger. His pajama buttons burst off. Pop, pop, pop. Soon he was all rounded out except for his right foot. He shook the foot twice, and it swelled to match the other one. There stood Stanley Lambchop, as if he had never been flat at all. "Thank you, Arthur," Stanley said. "Thank you very much." Mr. and Mrs. Lambchop came to see what the boys were up to so late at night. "George," said Mrs. Lambchop, "Stanley is round again." "I'm the one who did it," said Arthur. "I blew him up." Mrs. Lambchop made hot chocolate to celebrate, and several toasts were drunk to Arthur for his cleverness. When the little party was over, Mr. and Mrs. Lambchop tucked the brothers back into bed and turned out the light. "Good night," they said. "Good night," said Stanley and Arthur. Soon all the Lambchops were fast asleep. Flat Hero saves the day. Art thieves foiled. Flat Stanley? Flat Agnes, maybe? I don't know. Flat Sherman? I don't know. We don't know who those flat people are. We can guess. Okay, well, that was Daddy reading you a story. So I love you guys, and I will hopefully see you soon. Okay, bye.